Sometimes weddings just go horribly wrong, and today we are going to be the judge of some of those, and we're going to decide if they are still going to be invited or if they're going to return to sender. First story, send help. Friend wants to wear this to a wedding, and we do in fact have a picture of whatever this is. This story came April 21st, 2026. Please help. A friend and I are attending a black tie wedding. I'm the +1. Without hesitation, I've already selected a standard tux and plan to add my own flair. However, the dresses my friend is selecting worry me. She is convinced the bride, who is marrying one of the friends of my college pals, won't be angry about this dress apparently at any of her events. I won't go into any backstory, but I just want to say that this isn't the only white dress she has sent me. It is unfortunately the only remaining white dress she says that she's going to buy and bring anyway, to not just one, but 2 separate weddings. Apparently, my word as gay bestie and fashion etiquette experience with weddings mean very little to her. I suspect she knows it won't fly, as she refuses to send photos of any of her pics to relevant maid of honor or bridesmaids for the 2 upcoming weddings. So please, internet strangers, help me convince her otherwise. It is a stunning spring or summer dress, just not for a wedding or wedding-related events where she is not the bride. How white are we talking? That's what I want to know. Let's look at the photo. Oh, ma'am. That is very much, that could be a wedding dress. That could literally be a wedding dress, a wedding shower dress, a bachelorette party dress. I mean, I already have my verdict. But the wedding hasn't happened and we have some more updates. So I'm gonna let this play out. All right, so we have a mini update that came the same day. I think she already owns the dress, but she won't confirm. Found out it's from 2 years ago. She is almost certainly bringing it if I don't make an ultimatum. Fair warning, y'all might be witnessing the rapid end of a very close friendship in real time. There's more to the story, and I am learning more by the minute. Tell us everything. We have the final update, came the next day. Well, that was a short friendship. Oh, this was escalated and ended very quickly, a matter of 2 days. I am not attending the wedding with my ex-friend. It is amazing how blind one can become when an individual is so good at compartmentalizing. What's happening with my brain right now, or lack thereof? Anyways, we understand the friend is I don't know what's happening. I'm quite literally glitching. You guys know what I'm trying to say? Anyways, that's what the friend was doing. Turns out she is an ex-situationship of both grooms with a messy history. Which is fully hidden from me until now. So she was trying to show up in white because she previously had a thing with these grooms. My ex-friend was aware we had mutuals among the groups, but she severely underestimated how close I remain to those mutuals to this day. Apparently, she lied to me repeatedly regarding her friendship with the grooms and several groomsmen across both wedding parties. I have zero issues with this, except the fact that lying to me and choosing white dresses is, as one commenter correctly stated, some of the tackiest friend behavior I have ever endured as an adult. I don't care who she's been with or what the relationships are like now, but I refuse to be dragged into any dramatic shenanigans. The white dress choice was intentional and it was malicious. She then went on to all but admit to inviting me as her +1 to the first wedding because she can't afford the hotel or sightseeing on her own and is only attending the second wedding as I already have accommodations nearby. So in less than 2 hours, one little "help me, the dress is wrong" post has brought up years of lying, financial misuse, and poor behavior to our mutual friends to light. I am not sticking around long enough to knowingly experience any more. The stories from others are still surfacing. I cannot believe that I was so blinded. Another commenter said something like, "I love how this sub supports brides. And boy, am I grateful for the community that not only helped me prove a point, but helped use a dress choice to expose behavior I will not tolerate in a friend I thought I had made for life. I'll leave you with this nugget. In response to my ultimatum, she made statements to the effect that she assumed I would just go along with it because I'm her close friend, not theirs. No ma'am, I will not. Easiest choice to end a friendship I have ever had. Okay. I think the verdict is a pretty obvious one. We are absolutely taking her invite and returning to sender. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You never even received it in the mail. Keep your white dress at home with your invite. All right, next story. My guy best friend is getting married, but my abusive ex, is in the wedding party. Help. This story came February 7th, 2015. I, 24 female, met my best guy friend, Jacob, 26 male, and my ex, Matt, 26 male, my first year of college. The three of us were pretty much inseparable until things between Matt and I got ugly. The details of our relationship aren't that important to my question, but just to say that we went through 9 months of a typical abusive relationship pattern. Tension, then explosion, then a honeymoon period, and repeat before I got myself out of that BS. Matt was mostly emotionally abusive, but there were incidents of physical abuse right before I left. Much of Matt's abusive behavior was spurred by his severe anxiety disorder, which is partially why it was hard for me to leave. Only Jacob and I really knew how bad his mental health was, and I used to stay up with him until 3 a.m. helping him through panic attacks. On the day that I finally left, I called Jacob and said, "You have to come here and help Matt. I cannot do this anymore." He didn't know that Matt was abusive towards me prior to that day, but he is well aware now. Anyway, Matt and I tried having a friendship. I don't know why, but it didn't happen for obvious reasons. However, Jacob remained close friends with Matt and me separately. Since college, I have gotten married. My husband really likes Jacob, and he was an usher in our wedding. And Jacob got engaged. Great. Except I quickly realized that I'd be forced to be around Matt for the first time in years, as Matt will be a groomsman. For clarification, I am not in the wedding party. I might be asked to help in some other way, but I am not in the wedding party. Matt has attempted to contact me a few times since I started dating my now husband, Aaron, 29 male. Most recently was a text a few days after my wedding, which I ignored. It's mostly been Facebook messages that say, in a lot more words than this, "I'm sorry about everything, can we be friends?" The first time I responded, detailed all the reasons why we couldn't be friends, and I asked him not to contact me again. But in the handful of messages after that, my answer was pretty much, "I told you not to talk to me, go away." And then no response at all. Matt also found out I was in town a few times when I visited Jacob and some friends. They still live in our college town, and tried to invite himself over to make amends with me. But I've successfully avoided seeing him since I graduated college almost 3 years ago. Since I'm sure this question will come up, I am not Facebook friends with Matt, but I have not blocked him. I want to keep tabs on where he is in case he moves or I move. It hasn't been a problem. Matt's maybe contacted me through there 4 times in the past 3 years. Aaron never met Matt, but he knows all about how he treated me. I went through therapy post-Matt and pre-Aaron, and I'm healed from my abuse now, but I'm worried about seeing Matt in person. I don't think I'll have any major emotional reaction at the wedding since it doesn't really bother me so much anymore, but I'm nervous that Matt will come up and try to say something to me or Aaron. Aaron isn't the type that would get aggressive with Matt, but he would definitely get in Matt's face and ask him to leave us alone. Aaron is very non-confrontational until he thinks I'm being treated badly. Even still, he's not going to punch the dude in the face. Also, I have no idea on the status of Matt's mental health. Last time I asked Jacob, which was a long time ago, he said he was doing a lot better, but I have no idea what that means. I just don't want to cause any issues or tension on my best friend's big day. Matt isn't dangerous in that he would hurt me or Aaron or anyone else, so this doesn't require a restraining order or something like that. And the situation doesn't require us to not attend the wedding. Mostly, I think it will lead to a very uncomfortable situation, and I'm not sure how to prep my husband or myself for that situation, which will most likely happen. Edit. A lot of people are coming down hard on Jacob for staying friends with Matt, and honestly, I understand. I initially found it crappy and hypocritical, but I've gotten over it, really. I think Jacob was in a tough spot because this was happening to two of his best friends, and when I left Matt and Jacob found out about the abuse, I think Jacob felt that he had to be there for both of us. I should also note that Jacob knew Matt first, so I'm sure that he felt obligated to him. Matt had an anxiety disorder, and I think he needed Jacob there to just help him get help. I don't endorse their friendship, but not many people really understand abuse. And since mine was so much emotional abuse and only a small portion was physical, that makes it even harder for people to understand. So if it were the other way around and I were you guys reading this, I would definitely respond the same way and say that Jacob's being a bad friend. But he's honestly been one of the best friends I've ever had, and a piece of crap like Matt isn't worth losing a great friend like Jacob. I'll mull over this part a little bit and talk to Aaron for his input, but I'd really like insight on how to deal with Matt and the wedding. There's a lot in there. I'm curious how you guys would feel if your best friend was abusive to their partner who is also your friend. Mental health issues, of course, considered there, but would you stand by that and remain friends with them? Or would you have to say, like, I encourage you to get help and I wish you the best, but you are abusive to someone that I also care about, even if it was just someone in general, and I can't stand by that. I would love to know your perspective on that, but also the wedding thing. I mean, it kind of seems like there's really no solution here other than to just go and hopefully avoid any kind of confrontation. We have an update though, so we're gonna find out. The update came 4 months later. We are now at June 8th. 2015. I took the advice of writing to Matt prior to the wedding and explicitly stating that he should not approach me. About a month or so before the wedding, I sent a Facebook message and I didn't pull any punches. I figured this was my one and only chance to let him have it. I told him that I wanted to make it absolutely clear that he abused me and it wasn't a conclusion I came to on my own, but through the guidance of therapists and other abuse survivors. I said that I was telling him that because not only was it important for him to recognize it, but it was important for me to say it. I then went on to say that because he abused me, I was not and would never be interested in having a friendship with him. And I wasn't doing that to be mean or close-minded, but because I needed it for my own mental health. I told him he was at one point very important to me, but he threw that away with his thoughtless treatment of me. So I wrapped up my message to Matt by saying that I wanted to enjoy Jacob and Andrea's wedding and support one of my best friends getting married, and that if he didn't respect me enough as a woman to honor my request to leave me alone, he could talk to my husband Aaron about it. So anyway, Matt surprisingly did not respond to this. Last time I tried to call him out on his abuse, he called me screaming and saying that I was jeopardizing his future career as a teacher. So I was ready for that, but it didn't happen, thankfully. Prior to the wedding, I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what kind of reaction I would have in seeing him, and I was really concerned that he would approach me or try to talk to my husband, but he actually left me alone. Okay, this seems like a positive. When I saw him for the first time at the wedding, all I felt were the same feelings I had when I saw him around campus after I finally left him. Some mixture of resentment, pity, annoyance, and complete disinterest in him as a person. I was really happy about that because I wasn't sure how I'd react after not seeing him for 3 years, but my mental health held up. I caught him looking at me a few times, but that was the extent of our interaction at the wedding, and I could tell that he was the exact same person he was in college based on his behavior at the wedding. So my assumptions were correct. It was terribly mean and resentful of me, but I was over the top happy that all the other groomsmen found him unbearable. They told me all this without knowing our history, and he had no one to talk to at the wedding. He talked a few college girls into dancing with him, but I was surrounded by my incredible husband and a big group of friends who were thrilled to see me. So in the end, I got the better life and he is still a To be honest though, it was a little tough seeing him. At one point in my life, I really did love him, and as my husband put it, I don't easily burn emotional bridges. I always hold on to hope with people, even if they treated me badly, but Matt and I, stupidly, tried to be friends while we were still in college and after we separated, and it was a disaster. It was just an abusive relationship 2.0 for us. So, for my mental health and self-respect, I knew I could never have him in my life in any capacity, and that is still a little hard to accept at times. Anyways, this is hopefully the last time I will ever have to see him. I expect him to try to contact me again in the future, some years down the road, but he hasn't since my message. I'm hoping that it finally made him confront the reality of what happened between us, since he was still putting at least partial blame on me for the situation. But I'm done making myself feel even the smallest bit responsible for him, as you should. I guess the real question is, the invite lies in Jacob's hands, obviously, and if you are in Jacob's position, like I said earlier, are you friends with Matt and inviting him to the wedding? Or knowing the situation, would you maybe be friends with him but not invite him to your wedding, knowing that she's gonna be there? That's a tricky one, because it really is up to the groom. Let me know what you guys would do here. I feel like that's tough. I know you love the person, but that would be really hard to stand by someone who was abusive to someone else, especially with the physical aspect. That's tricky. Let me know. We'll decide together. Next story, slapdash wedding planning. Does this sound normal? I don't even know what slapdash means, so. I, 33 male, was asked to be in my friend's wedding, 30 female, as a groomsman. I've only ever been to one wedding party before, which was several years ago. According to the memory, that wedding was organized and planned well. My friend's upcoming wedding, however, seems to be so last minute and disorganized. My friend and her fiance were engaged late last year. I've known since then that I would be a groomsman, so all good there. However, that is the only thing I've known about since the engagement. It wasn't until the end of March of 2026 that I even knew when the date of the wedding would be, which is mid-May 2026. Yes, this May. So my first gripe, isn't it customarily to send out wedding invites more than a month and a half ahead of the big day? Usually. Yes, that's the considerate thing to do. Next are tux rentals. In a perfect world, we'd be purchasing or suiting, but that can be very costly, of course. For this wedding, I was advised that we would spend about $150 on tux rentals from a bridal shop. Not my first choice, but so it goes. The measurement taking happened mid-April, and we were informed that we would receive them the Wednesday before the wedding. Gagged. His writing, not mine. That is so funny. That would effectively prevent any alterations, right? I guess the measurements that the lady took in under 10 seconds will be spot on. Well, you better hope that they're spot on, I guess. Now to the day of the big event. I have been tasked with picking up some of the elderly guests on my way to the wedding. I know these people, so it's not like they're strangers, but this already feels like this will limit my ability to enjoy the day. Is that selfish? The wedding venue, a church, will be over 2 hours away from me, so I understand the sentiment that the couple don't necessarily want older people having to drive the distance. Fine. Yet I now will be at the whim of my passengers when it comes time to leave the reception, although this might not be a bad thing now. More on that below. One thing I won't have to worry about is being too drunk to drive. There will be no alcohol at the reception, and I have been advised to bring my own if I want some. I get that not everyone drinks anymore, but shouldn't it be an option? Maybe I expect too much. I understand it can come down to cost for the couple and their families. That's why the food is being homemade and not being catered in. I just get the impression that nothing was really thought through and everything was and is being thrown together. More evidence of things not being thought through came in the form of a text last Thursday from the bride asking if I'd be able to make it to the groom's bachelor party on Friday, the very next day. What's happened? This gives me anxiety. I'm not even wedding planning yet, but I have so much anxiety of this disorganization. Oh my gosh, I am an organized queen, okay? I already had other plans, so I was unable to attend. At least the bride acknowledged that it was last minute. I love my friend, but this seems so disorganized that I'm dreading the actual wedding day. I mean, couldn't be me, okay? But I understand that everyone's day and situation and planning is probably different. And if that's how the bride and groom want to run things, then I guess so be it, because it's their day. I think we still send the invite to you. You still obviously accept it and go. You go with a smile on your face. You support, even if it is unorganized and not the way you would do it. We get the invite and we go to the wedding. We're sending the invite out for this one. I surely would have anxiety that whole time. The disorganization would, that's creating anxiety for me just reading it. We have some more invites to get to, but you know the drill. I need a sip of water, and so do you. It's hydration station. Cheers. I keep getting comments of people saying, I didn't know you had a second channel. Yes, I probably don't talk about it enough, but it is recent. I started a second channel where I can just do more lifestyle thing, fun games, just more of me and my personality and not just reading Reddit stories. So make sure you guys subscribe if you want to be notified for those videos so that you don't miss them. I am starting to post on there more. I post a short every day, but I'm working my way up to posting more long form content videos, like a couple a week. It's going to take some time since I post on here every day as well. Anyways, make sure you subscribe. It's at Life with Joss. It's linked in every video description ever. Next story. My best friend excluded me from her wedding because of my religion. My 44 former roommate and person who I thought was my best friend, Mary, 45, met someone about a year ago and is getting married next weekend. She and I are one another's emergency contacts because we live in different states from our families. I got her the job she had for 10 years at my employer. I held her when she mourned how her ex-boyfriend cheated on her and all the other things that best friends do. In the last year, though, I have been going through some personal challenges, including traveling a lot to care for my terminally ill parent, being laid off from my dream job, and my own health challenges. So I haven't really been as present in not only her life, but really anywhere. She never introduced me to her fiance, which I thought was strange, but since it was a pretty fast engagement, I figured that would come in time, and she was giving me space while I was dealing with all of my challenges. She talked about the wedding, but not very often, and said that it would be pretty small, leading me to believe it was just going to be her, him, and his kids, who are all under 10. She said they were getting married at his house. 2 weeks ago, she sent me an invitation to her bridal shower. She told me she hadn't wanted one, which is why I did not try to throw one myself for her. Apparently, another friend is going to do that. She also sent me the link to the gift registry. At that point, I asked her what her expectations were, given that typically people aren't invited to a bridal shower if they aren't coming to the wedding, and did she have plans to have me at the wedding? That must be really weird asking one of like your closest lifelong best friends, like, hey, so am I invited to your wedding?
Awkward.
She told me that she wanted me to celebrate at the bridal shower, but that only close friends and family were going to be at the wedding. She also told me that since she thought I was probably wondering, that she didn't ask me to be in the wedding party or stand up with her because she's in a different place from me in terms of her faith. The girl who is hosting the shower is standing up with her, and they met at church. For the record, she is Christian, I am Muslim, and being from different faith traditions did not faze her when we lived together for a decade, or when she would literally fly home with me to celebrate the Muslim religious holidays with my family, or when she called my mom, Mom. For what it's worth, we also have been friends for so long that we daydream together about our weddings, if we ever met the right person, and every one of those conversations, we were part of each other's bridal parties. That would be devastating to find out like that. A few days after sending me that note, she texted me about getting together for dinner that week. Like, everything was fine. She also asked me for tips on fun things to do in the city where she is having her honeymoon because I travel there quite often. I have not responded or communicated with her since the text conversation about the wedding. I'm honestly not sure what to do here. I feel like there's probably a lot of underlying stuff going on here, like why she never introduced me to her fiance. I'm good enough to hang out with, be her emergency contact, though I suppose he will now take on that role. Share season tickets to various activities, help with free legal advice on a regular basis, buy a gift for the bridal shower, hang out like normal, give honeymoon travel advice, but not good enough to be part of her wedding? And I'm frankly so offended that the reason given is essentially that I am Muslim. I'm thinking of going going low contact or no contact, but I'm also thinking of sending a gift because I don't want her to claim that I'm jealous or that I'm petty. I initially felt like I shouldn't spend any more time or money on her, but my sister thinks that I am better than that and I should protect my peace and also send her a token gift, but something I don't think hard about and definitely not something sentimental. She suggested towels. Interesting. Would you accept this invite or would you return to sender if you are on the guest list for this one? You are not the bride. I think the bride should have absolutely sent the invite. There has to be more underlying here. I'm not understanding how you can support each other's religion and differences in everyday life, but not on your wedding day. But getting the invite, would you go? Would you accept? Would you send a gift and maybe not go to the wedding? I feel like you really have to evaluate the friendship there, and maybe just going for the shower is you showing up. But would you even do that? I mean, you're not even invited to the wedding, so I guess this is an invite decision to the bridal shower. I feel like it would be hard to not be offended. So loosely saying this, since I don't have much time to process this here, maybe I would return to sender, but still send a gift and just wishing you well on this day, because it doesn't make sense that you'd be invited to the bridal shower, but not the actual wedding. What do you mean? What's happening?
What do you mean?
We're besties. Return to sender. What do you guys think? Next story. Bride covered in black paint moments before she was due to walk down the aisle in revenge attack by sister-in-law. This story was posted on Reddit, but it also made the news, apparently. So, a bride, Gemma Monk, was attacked with black paint moments before her wedding in Kent, England. The incident happened just before she was due to walk down the aisle at Oakland House in Maidstone on May 24th, 2024. Her sister-in-law, Antonia Eastwood, carried out the act due to a family feud linked to a dispute from a previous wedding in 2023. The paint covered the bride's face and wedding dress. Despite the attack, she changed into a borrowed dress and went ahead with the ceremony, marrying her partner 2 hours later. Eastwood was later convicted of criminal damage. She received a 10-month prison sentence, suspended for 12 months, 160 hours of unpaid work, a 10-year restraining order, and was ordered to pay $5,000 in compensation, $4,000 to the bride, and $1,000 to the venue. And we have pictures. I'm stunned. I can only imagine how bad this is. Oh! And just like that, it's worse than I even thought. Covered. All your makeup ruined. Everything. I mean, I can't see the bottom of the dress, but you're not going down the aisle with black paint on your dress. That's horrible. All over a family feud. Like, you have the audacity to actually do that to a bride right before she walks down the aisle. That's insane. And look at her like smirking in the picture. Apparently that is the picture of the sister-in-law who did it. Not worth it, honestly. Jail time for throwing paint on someone? Like, was that really worth the revenge of whatever the feud was? Well, what was the feud? Obviously, I think the big answer is returning to sender. I mean, I'll send you the invite to prison.
Right to jail, right away.
That was fun, you guys. Let me know your verdict on all of these stories, and I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.